Introduction. The island that wanted him dead. The ocean had no mercy. For 3 days, the storm had swallowed every trace of civilization around the small volcanic island of Kavira, a forgotten piece of land in the middle of the Pacific where black cliffs rose from the sea and an active volcano breathed smoke into the sky. No ships passed here. No aircraft flew overhead. No one came looking. That was exactly why former military sniper Ethan Cole had chosen it for a covert extraction mission. But the mission had failed. And now the hunter had become the hunted. Ethan opened his eyes beneath a layer of wet ash. The first thing he felt was pain. His ribs burned with every breath. His left shoulder was cut open, his equipment was gone, and the only thing he had left was a damaged survival knife strapped to his leg. The helicopter crash had destroyed everything. His rifle, his radio, his supplies, his way home. Above him, the volcano roared. A deep, unnatural sound, like the earth itself was warning him. Then he heard something else. Footsteps. Not one person. Many. Ethan slowly lifted his head. Through the smoke and falling ash, dark figures moved along the ridge. The men who shot down his helicopter had survived. The militia. They were searching the island. Searching for him. Their leader, a ruthless commander named Raphael Voss, believed Ethan carried information that could expose his entire operation. And Voss had made one promise. Find the sniper before the island kills him. But Voss misunderstood one thing. Ethan Cole wasn't just a sniper. He was a survivor. And the volcanic island that was supposed to become his grave was about to become his weapon. Chapter 1. The Last Bullet. 6 hours earlier, the mission was supposed to be simple. Ethan Cole had spent years operating in places where maps were wrong and survival depended on instinct. Deserts, frozen mountains, dense forests. But Kavira was different. The island was alive. Rivers of lava cut through valleys. The air carried poisonous fumes. The ground shook without warning. The mission was to locate a hidden weapons shipment being moved through an abandoned research station on the island. Ethan was positioned on a cliff hundreds of meters away. His rifle rested calmly in his hands. His breathing slowed. His heartbeat became almost invisible. That was the difference between an ordinary soldier and a sniper. A sniper learned patience. The world could collapse around him, and he would still wait for the perfect moment. Through his scope, Ethan saw the target. Raphael Voss, the man responsible for dozens of attacks across remote regions. But before Ethan could complete the mission, something changed. The sky flashed. Not lightning, missiles. The helicopter carrying the extraction team exploded before it reached him. Someone had betrayed them. The militia knew they were coming. Within minutes, the island became a battlefield. Ethan escaped into the jungle, but not before Voss discovered who he was. A voice came through the enemy radio. Find the sniper. Alive if possible. Dead if necessary. Ethan knew what that meant. They were not searching randomly. They were hunting him. Chapter 2. A sniper without a rifle. Ethan moved through the volcanic forest as the sun disappeared. Every step was calculated. The jungle was unlike any place he had trained. The trees were twisted from years of volcanic ash. The soil was unstable. The plants were unfamiliar. Water was scarce. And every sound traveled. A broken branch. A falling rock. A single careless movement. The enemy would hear everything. Ethan reached an old lava tunnel. Inside, he examined his injuries. The wound on his shoulder needed treatment. Without supplies, he had to improvise. He collected plant fibers and created a temporary wrap. He found a small stream and filtered water through layers of cloth and volcanic sand. It wasn't perfect, but survival was never about perfection. It was about adaptation. The old instructors had taught him, when technology fails, instinct takes over. And now instinct was all he had. Chapter 3. The First Hunt. The militia entered the jungle at dawn. 20 armed men. Thermal equipment. Tracking devices. Modern weapons. They believed they had every advantage. But Ethan understood something they didn't. The island belonged to no one, not even them. He watched from above as they moved through the trees. They searched for footprints. They looked for disturbed vegetation. They followed every obvious trail. Ethan smiled slightly, because obvious trails were for people who wanted to be found. He moved differently. He studied the environment, the direction of the wind, the movement of birds, the patterns of animals. Primitive survival skills passed down for generations. He created false signs, a broken branch pointing one direction, footprints leading toward unstable ground, a disturbed patch of ash. The militia followed, exactly where he wanted. Hours later, their commander realized something was wrong. They had been walking in circles. The sniper wasn't running. He was controlling the battlefield. Chapter 4. The Volcano Awakens. That night, Kavira changed. The volcano erupted. The ground shook violently. A massive explosion sent a wave of ash across the island. The militia abandoned their search and rushed for higher ground. Ethan didn't move. He watched the eruption, because he knew something important. A volcano was destruction, but it was also survival. The heat meant warmth. The rocks meant shelter. The ash could hide tracks. The landscape itself could become camouflage. Ethan climbed toward a rocky area near the volcano's edge. There, he discovered an old abandoned research station. Half-buried, forgotten. Inside, he found damaged equipment, a few supplies, and something unexpected. A journal, written by one of the scientists who once lived there. The final entry read, "The mountain is not angry. It is alive. Those who fight it will lose. Those who understand it may survive." Ethan closed the book. The same rule applied to warfare. Don't fight the environment. Use it. Chapter 5. The enemy closes in. Raphael Voss was becoming impatient. His men were exhausted. Several had abandoned the search. The island was breaking them. But Voss refused to leave. He had fought wars across continents. He had defeated armies. He couldn't accept that one injured man was defeating him. "He's hiding because he's weak," Voss said. His second-in-command looked toward the smoking volcano. "No. He's hiding because he knows something we don't." Voss ignored him, and that mistake would cost him. Chapter 6. The Primitive War. Ethan knew he couldn't survive forever. Eventually, hunger would win. The injury would worsen. The militia would adapt. So he created a plan. Not a military operation. A survival strategy. He used everything the island provided. Sharp volcanic stone. Natural materials. The terrain. The weather. He moved only when the environment gave him cover. He rested during dangerous conditions. He traveled during moments when everyone else was forced to stop. The enemy had weapons. Ethan had knowledge. And knowledge kept him alive. Chapter 7. The Final Chase. On the 5th day, Voss finally found him. Ethan was standing near the edge of a volcanic cliff. Behind him, a massive drop. In front, the entire militia. Voss smiled. "You survived longer than expected." Ethan said nothing. "You really thought you could defeat us with nothing?" Ethan looked around. The smoke, the unstable ground, the volcano. Then he looked back at Voss. "I didn't defeat you. I survived you." The ground suddenly shook. The volcano released another wave of ash. Chaos erupted. The militia panicked. Visibility disappeared. Ethan moved through the smoke like a ghost. The same environment that trapped him now protected him. Voss chased him into the darkness. But he had made the same mistake as everyone else. He underestimated the island. Chapter 8. The Last Stand. Ethan reached the abandoned radio tower near the coast. It was damaged, but still functional. He needed one signal, one chance. The militia surrounded the area. Voss approached slowly. "This ends now." Ethan looked at the radio, then at the sky. A small aircraft appeared through the clouds. The extraction team. They had finally received his emergency signal. Voss realized too late. The sniper wasn't trying to escape. He was waiting. The fight that followed was brutal. Not because Ethan had more weapons, but because he had something more valuable. Experience. Every movement had purpose. Every decision came from survival. When the dust settled, Voss was defeated. The island became silent. Ending. The man who survived the mountain. Weeks later, people would tell stories about Kavira. Some said the volcano protected him. Others said Ethan was impossible to kill. But Ethan knew the truth. The island didn't save him. Tested him. It forced him to remember something modern soldiers often forget. Before weapons, before technology, before machines, humans survived through observation, patience, adaptation, and the will to keep moving. Ethan Cole left Kavira with scars, but he also left with a lesson. The most dangerous weapon a person can carry isn't always in their hands. Sometimes, it's the ability to survive when everything else is gone.